defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and there's a lot going on. And right now here in Montana, we are going through that cold spell that the Midwest went through last week. It's not 60, 75 below with wind chill like around Chicago and around that area. But the high today is around -2. Tonight it'll get down to, I think, the air temperature will be about 15 below with wind chill. Who knows? We've been kind of hovering around 20 below. Maybe we'll get to 30 below. I don't know. But see, in Montana, and actually Billings, where I'm at, it's really not that bad. Winters. You go to North Dakota, or you go to upper northeast Montana, or a lot of these other places around the state, and they can have some brutal winters. But in Billings, okay, maybe you have to deal with 10 days out of the winter where it's below zero. You might get 10 below, 15 below. But that's not bad. It's, a lot of the time it's in the 20s and 30s. So, for me, if that scares people away, I like that, because I don't like being in very crowded areas. Now, when I go and I do my little trips, yes, I'm going to pretty crowded areas. That's fine. That's my vacation. I'm getting away, and I only have to experience that for a little bit. Then I come back home where there's not very much population, and there's more cows than people, and I like it that way. But anyway, guys, getting back here to the mic, last week's show, we didn't have a show last week. The week before that, I was discussing that, okay, next week's show, we're going to talk about the government shutdown. So, as promised, that's where I'm going to gear this discussion. And we have had a quasi conclusion to the government shutdown. Yes, we did have the longest government shutdown ever at 34 days that began December 22nd. So right before Christmas, and it ended January 25th, I believe. So basically what happened was Trump's like, okay, all right, we're going to pass a continuing resolution to at least fund the government through February 15th. So that's the next deadline. So now there's people talking about, okay, whoa, the government's going to shut down again. They might not have a deal in time. And I do have a few articles here I've kind of pulled from this place and that place, just to kind of give you guys a feel for what the heck's going on out there, in case you haven't been following this stuff. With these government shutdowns, gosh dang, this is annoying. When I work at the airport for my part-time job, I'm not TSA. I work for the airlines. I work for United. But these TSA peeps, they haven't been getting their paychecks. Well, now that the government finally opened up again on January 25th, they did get their paychecks. So that's probably part of the reason why Trump decided, okay, yeah, maybe we should just open it up so at least some of these people will not, slump into poverty in the streets and so forth, at least get one paycheck, which it's amazing to me how many people live paycheck to paycheck, where if you miss one or two paychecks, like, you're kind of screwed. But most people seem to live their life. Now, I know it's not people who listen to this show. You guys are smart. You guys are just listening to a show like this. You're looking at things at a higher level. Not just, I'm a victim, this and that. I can never make it in life because I don't have luck, blah, blah, blah. No. When you live paycheck to paycheck, when you set yourself up that way, how in the hell can you ever get anywhere in life? Where life in general is stressful as it is. So why should you add more stress to your life by spending more than you take in and living paycheck to paycheck? It's like, oh crap, I gotta at least pay my rent so I don't get kicked out of my apartment or my house. And then, okay, oh no, I might have to cut back on eating this month. Like, that's a horrible way to live. Regardless of how much money you make, you can make it work. Like Dave Ramsey, he talks about people, you're trying to get out of debt, beans and rice, beans and rice, beans and rice. You got to do what you got to do to get your head above water. And then from there, put some money aside and build up that little tiny nest egg So at least you have some money for emergencies. If you have a vehicle, we all need new tires for our vehicle every, 35, 40, 45,000 miles or more than that, maybe 60,000. You got to have oil changes every 3,000 miles or so. There's all these sort of things that most people, they're just so caught up, they spend every little dime they get. Oh, I've got to have the best cell phone plan, which actually most people screw up on cell phone plans. I talk to people, people I work with. It's like, wait, how much are you paying for your cell phone bill? Most people overpay. You should be price shopping your cell phone bill. The prices of these cell phone plans, they keep getting cheaper and cheaper. And for me, I was on AT&T for years. I switched over to T-Mobile. I found better prices. Yeah, I was on an unlimited plan at AT&T. It included HBO, so I could watch Game of Thrones and so forth. So now I have to actually pay for HBO Go temporarily when the new Game of Thrones, the final season comes out. That's fine. But I'm saving enough money where it's worth it to me. And actually where I live, there's a tower right across, a brand new tower that was put up. I never knew who put up that damn tower. Well, it turns out that was a T-Mobile tower that's right across from the feedlot. So, I work there most of the time, then I go work at the airport. So for me, I'm getting a better deal in terms of the price I'm paying for my plan. I pay for my phones outright, so they're unlocked, so it's easy to switch carriers. And when you have that flexibility, you can get the best deals. Or like people who you have enough money saved up where you can afford a Sam's Club membership or a Costco membership. In the long run, especially if you have a family, you save a lot of money going to one of these warehouse clubs. Once you start shopping at these warehouse clubs, you start walking into a Walmart, you're like, man, this stuff's expensive. Or especially in Albertsons, especially if things aren't on sale. Albertsons can have some pretty decent deals, but besides those sale items, it's probably not worth it. It's probably not worth it to buy all your groceries there because you're going to spend a lot more money. So if people were just smart with their money and price shopped, they could make it work. So I guess I didn't plan on going that far in the weeds already when I just started out on this thing. So with this government shutdown, basically what we have, 800,000 government employees. And we're like to these guys, okay, you're non-essential employees. You don't need to come to work. You're not going to get your paychecks until the government reopens. But now here's the kicker. And this is what blows my damn mind. If these government employees, if they actually didn't live paycheck to paycheck, here you have a 34-day vacation. You don't have to show up for work. And you're going to get all the back pay. What type of deal is this? If we're going to have a government shutdown, these guys should not get their back pay. Screw that. You're not working. We're in the private sector where you get back pay for all those days that you weren't there. Working on the feedlot for my dad, farming and all that. I don't show up for work. I don't get paid. Until this job with the airlines, I had never had a paid vacation before. All this stuff is new to me. It's like, oh, I guess I'll take it, which most people think about all this stuff. It's like, oh man, yeah, thank God for unions. They gave us the weekend, blah, blah, blah. That is all a bunch of BS too. Any benefits you get from your job, whether it's your health insurance included or you're getting paid vacation, all of that is being figured in to your total salary, the total amount of money that they're paying to hire you. And the company is going to look at it, or your boss is going to look at it like, okay, is it worth it to hire this guy for, say, $60,000 a year when you figure in all benefits to do what he's doing? Okay, maybe your actual salary is, say, $50,000. So you're getting $10,000 in benefits, whatever. They look at it as your total cost to the employer. So all this BS about the union gave us the weekend, it is crap. And we can talk about that a different day because I just really want to focus on the government shutdown here. So getting back to it. So we've got like these TSA peeps. They're laid off. Some of them, they're forced to come back to work. Some didn't show up. Like, screw this. I'm not going to show up. So there's longer lines for people trying to make their flights. And then on top of that, there's air traffic controllers, which there is some speculation out there that people believe that the reason Trump decided at day 34 or on the 35th day of the shutdown to be like, okay, let's reopen it, is because there were 10 air traffic controllers who decided to stay home. They didn't show up for work. Air traffic controllers, they're overseeing all the planes coming in. They're trying to keep space in between all the aircraft so there's no crashes, this and that. And so that's what a lot of people think. It's like, oh man. So where these air traffic controllers, where they stayed home, and actually I have an article here, just a few quotes. The absence of those few workers, there were 6 that were in Northern Virginia, and there were 4 in Florida who didn't show up for work. Now these people are saying, or in the union saying that, hey, this was not coordinated. And actually, later in the article here, it says, their actions, along with staffing issues already brewing at the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, helped tip the scales in Washington, driving President Donald Trump to agree to a 3-week ceasefire. No one has alleged that the air traffic controller call-outs on January 25th were coordinated, and NATCA does not support any coordinated activity that would disrupt national airspace. Rinaldi said the union does not condone or endorse any federal employees participating in or endorsing a coordinated activity that negatively affects the capacity of the national airspace system or other activities that undermine the professional image and reputation of the men and women we represent. Okay, so here we have, because these 10 air traffic controllers who decided to stay home, there was several flights that were canceled due to, and this was going from wherever these guys are at in Florida and in LaGuardia, where they canceled a lot of flights because there's only so many air traffic control guys and women hanging around, so they couldn't monitor all the flights. And to keep and make sure that aircrafts and people are safe, they had to reduce the volume of flights. And so that'll happen because these guys decided to stay home. It's just 10 of them just got sick. 6 of them from the same place in Virginia. All magically didn't show up. But no, it was not coordinated at all. No. All this stuff that's been happening with this, when this shutdown was taking place, which we probably will have another shutdown if they don't come to a deal by February 15th. But between that and so the FDA was affected by this government shutdown as well. And they decided, well, because we don't really have the workforce, they're no longer, they stopped looking for salmonella in breakfast cereal and E. coli in the romaine lettuce or listeria in ice cream. And so the FDA has drastically cut the amount of people they have working for them. So, and actually from the article here, some of FDA's work, such as drug approvals, inspection of drugs producing facilities, and regulating tobacco products, are paid for by user fees. They're not greatly affected by the shutdown, but much of the budget is specifically appropriated by Congress, and it's on hold. About 7,000 of the agency's 17,000 employees, or 41% of the staff, are furloughed. Okay, so they've had a reduction in staff, so now they're trying to force people to come back to work so that they can regulate us, because they regulate goods and so forth, so that they can protect us. But here, just these 2 examples. TSA, FDA, we as libertarians, we don't think the government should have any jurisdiction over this stuff anyway. It's only under George W. Bush that we had these federal workers, the TSA. That's when this stuff was created, to protect us. These guys do not protect us. I see these guys every day. And actually, I found an interesting article talking about the TSA and just how ineffective they are. Because I know, I'm sure some people, especially maybe if you're new to the show and you don't really come from things from a liberty sort of mindset, maybe come from things more of, government does the right thing, so forth. So here I found a good article where the guy's talking about getting rid of the TSA. This is coming from a few years ago by this Dylan Matthews writing for Vice. And, there's been research done, really, how effective are these guys? And so here it is. I'm just going to read probably just 3 paragraphs here. So Homeland Security officials looking to evaluate the agency had a clever idea. They pretended to be terrorists and tried to smuggle guns and bombs onto planes 70 different times. And 67 of those times, the red team succeeded. Their weapons and bombs were not confiscated, despite the TSA's lengthy screening process. That's a success rate of more than 95%. It's easy to make too much of high failure rates like that, as security expert Bruce Schneider likes to note. Such screenings don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good enough to make terrorists change their plans. No terrorist is going to base his plot on getting a gun through airport security if there's a decent chance of getting caught, because the consequences of getting caught are too great. Even Schneier says 95% was embarrassingly high and probably not good enough for those purposes. If you're a prospective terrorist looking at that stat, you might think smuggling a gun onto a plane is worth a shot. Okay, there you guys go. 95% of the time, these guys, these Homeland Security officials, were able to get guns and bombs onto planes as part of a test. TSA, these guys are worthless. When I came back from Chile, this is what, 2 months ago. And some of these TSA guys, they're just pieces of crap. This guy was so damn mean, yelling, "What are you doing? I told you to take this out, blah, blah, blah." And the policies from airport to airport, they change. Sometimes they tell you to keep your iPad in there. Other times they tell you to take them out. So, and like here these guys are yelling at you. Oh, I can't stand. Most of these guys are just big pieces of crap who, they disgust me. They really do. And here, in a free market, do you need a TSA? No. The airlines, they can provide their own security. Each airline could have its own security. Or maybe they could all get in cahoots and kind of have and fund their own private screeners who, and actually there's been research done on private screeners, they do a much better job. That's the way you want to go about it. Maybe you're only looking for certain things. In private screening, I would be willing to bet money. I bet you they won't give a damn if you have 4 ounces of liquid instead of 3. If you have the big toothpaste thing compared to the tinky ass little tiny travel size one. Or the big cologne instead of the small cologne that's under an ounce. Or under 3 ounces, I guess. This stuff is ridiculous. And these guys just follow by these damn rules. There's no flexibility. I was in a scenario. When the heck was this? Was this a few years ago? No, this was just last year. Last January, coming back from Singapore. I had this brand new water bottle. First time using it was for this trip. I just flew back into LAX from Singapore. I must have had probably 3 ounces of water at the very bottom of it. And the guy's like, "Hey," he's like, "Is this your water bottle?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, you got some water in here." I'm like, "Okay, well, just dump it out." He's like, "Well, you have one of 2 options." He's like, "Either A, I can dump the water out, or you can dump the water out, but you got to go back through the security line," which if I were to do that, I would go back and there's probably 30, 40 people in line. And I would miss the flight I'm trying to make. Or my second option was just throw the water bottle away. And so I said, just throw it. I'm not going to give that D-bag any power over me. I don't care. Throw it away. But here I had to throw a water bottle away. The TSA guy, he couldn't dump the water out for me and just hand it back to me. No, I would have to go back through security just to clear my stupid water bottle. These guys are ridiculous. This is what a freaking bureaucracy does for you. There's no flexibility. They don't give a crap about the customer. Well, actually, the people going through the security lines, that's not their customers. The customers, the people going through the TSA lines, they are customers of United, Delta, all these airlines, Alaska. So these TSA guys, they don't give a crap. They're federal employees. Now here these guys get paid to not work for 34 days. And I'm supposed to feel bad for these guys because they live paycheck to paycheck? That's not my problem. I'm sorry that I'm coming across as heartless, but this is a bunch of crap. And then getting back, okay, let's just stop on the TSA for right now. Air traffic controllers. Heck, Reagan, he fired 11,000 of these guys back in 1981 when these guys went on strike. He called it an illegal strike. I mean, they are government workers. Not allowed to go on strike. And actually, I got to give Trump props here. Where Trump a year ago, he's been trying to push through efforts to try to privatize air traffic controllers. Here, air traffic controllers, and even the airlines, they've been pushing for this for years. They're trying to get air traffic controllers to actually utilize technology from the 21st century, like using satellite-based tracking systems to guide aircrafts. You know what these air traffic controllers today are using? They're using ground-based radar. That's what they're using. What the hell? How many times we have to go back and look at scenario after scenario of anywhere where the government has a monopoly? There is no innovation. The USPS? They've been doing the same BS for decades. I don't see any innovation in their system. And all we see is decreased quality of service and the increased price of stamps. That's what you see when the government takes stuff over. So what the hell? Especially, it's like Republican. George W. Bush. Oh, he created the TSA to protect us. Oh, George Bush. What the hell? And that's what, with us libertarians, we are the most consistent out there. I don't give a crap if it's Republicans or Democrats. This stuff is stupid. TSA, you guys are a waste of money. We need to privatize the air traffic controllers. Enough with all this government largesse in regards to air travel. Air travel has become such a hassle that there's been a lot of people that decided, if they're close enough commutes, screw it, I'll just drive. I'm not going to worry about going through these guys, or you got these TSA guys feeling up Granny, seeing that she might have a bomb on her or something. This is so ridiculous and out of hand. And this government shutdown shows just how crazy our government is and out of control it is. And actually, I'm just going to start wrapping up this episode here. Let's get back to the government shutdown. So this agreement, the continuing resolution that's funded the government till February 15th. So that's allowed the government to pay off these government employees who haven't worked for 34 days. They had a really nice January. And now if this deadline gets missed, they don't have a deal in time. Republicans in the Senate trying to work with Democrats and so forth. Then we'll have another government shutdown. How long will this one go? I don't know. Trump, he's insistent on building that wall. And actually, I have a tweet that Trump sent out. Was this from today? I think it was. Talking about the wall. They can name it whatever. They can name it Peaches. I don't care what they name it, but we need the money for that barrier, Trump said. He's talking about the wall. He doesn't care what the name of the wall is. Yeah, you can name it Peaches. I think that's cute. Okay. Anyway, Trump wants this wall. Basically, his re-election is on this wall. If Trump fails on this wall, or that he's actually trying to fight for it, this is why a lot of people voted for him. And I've talked to you guys about it on this show. I've gone to 2 Trump rallies when he was in Billings. And there's a lot of people in Billings, Montana, who want to see a wall, even though we're freaking on the north border. We're on the border of Canada, but we give a damn about the southern border more than the Texans do, or the Californians. So it's really interesting how all that works out. But all over the country, Trump's base, these guys want to see a border fence built. Now the Democrats in general, they kind of, if they want border security, they're kind of looking at more of a human sort of wall, more of a wall with using drones and so forth. They want to avoid the physical barrier. But from Trump's perspective, and I'm sure he's kind of looking at it this way, that, if you don't do a physical barrier at least, then once a Democrat comes in office, they can easily just pull away all that support, and it's like all of Trump's wall talk all disappears. When you have a physical barrier, like what is the Democrat president who comes in, is he going to, his first option as president is what? Can it completely deconstruct the wall? So it's, by actually having a physical barrier there, I can understand that from Trump's perspective, that's a lot more permanent than just these drone surveillance and so forth, and more border control, which Trump does want that, but he wants both. And actually here, basically what I'm getting at to here, we have frickin' Dick Durbin. Republicans say the sides must still negotiate on ports of entry, which has been a key priority for Democrats. Republicans say the sides must still negotiate on upgrading technology and increasing manpower at ports of entry, which has been a key priority for Democrats. And here's from Dick Durbin. The thing that I thought came through clearly is that the highest number one priority is not a wall, it's technology, said Senator Dick Durbin, Illinois, after the meeting. The crisis, he said, was not migrants, but drugs, 90% of which, he said, flowed through ports of entry. More technology could help border officials scan cars and trucks coming through the border, where only a fraction of vehicles are currently scanned. Trump has signaled that he could declare a national emergency to build the wall without an appropriation from Congress, but Shelby said that Pence had indicated the president wants a legislative solution rather than go through executive powers, and isn't taking things off the board yet about what shouldn't be in a final agreement. Okay. So there we have it. And actually, I find it funny here how Mr. Dick Durbin refers to 90% of the drugs that we see are coming through these ports of entry. So the Democrats want to focus more on these ports of entry, and Republicans also want it too. But here's the thing, and even Trump has mentioned this, even during the campaign before he was president, that if we build this beautiful wall, we will be able to prevent all these drugs coming through the border. But that is not going to fix that problem. You are not going to stop drugs from coming through the border, over the border, by building a wall. Case in point, look at federal prisons. Look at prison. People can still get drugs in prison where they're confined from the outside world. Talk about being walled off, and they still get it because there's corruption. Everybody has their price. And I think just to wrap up this whole discussion on the government shutdown, I'm not going to try to predict if we will have another one or not. Maybe we will. Maybe it won't be as long as 34 days till they reach a deal. But look, this government shutdown shows us that the federal government, which this is all common sense anyway, the federal government has way too much power. Way too many issues that were once left up to the states are no longer left up to the states. Everything has become a federal issue. That's disgusting. And Ryan McMakin does a really good job at Mises.org talking about this stuff. It seems the theme in almost all of the pieces he writes for him is the key is decentralization. And frankly, I agree with him. We need to decentralize the federal government. Leave more of these options until we have more of a privatized system. Leave more of these issues up to a state government, a local government, a city government. And the closer the government is to the people, the more you and I can reflect and change policies. And we can make things better with still having this government system we do today. You know, not having sort of limited government that a lot of us want. At least that's moving us in the right direction. But when the federal government controls everything, controls all the purse strings, can shut down anything it wants, controls all commerce, that creates a lot of issues for you and me. That affects our lives. And I've said this many times on my show where I shouldn't have to give a damn who is my U.S. Senator or who is my U.S. Congressman. They should make no difference to my life. But the way the government is now, with everything being centralized in Washington, D.C., it does matter. These SOBs do affect my life. They're always out to help the people. They're always out to help the children. No, they're not. You guys keep making our lives worse. So ladies and gentlemen, let's just end it right there. You can catch up on old episodes. Go to justinmooreshow.com to do that. You can donate to my show via Amazon. Maybe I'll create a link, or I'll give you guys the promo code for next week's show, where it's a great way. It's the best debit card out there. If you like to travel overseas, or if you just want a debit card that doesn't charge you fees, that you get reimbursed for every ATM fee you receive. You don't have to worry about ATMs via, being in that network. Any ATMs, you can get reimbursed. It's always important to have a debit card. I've always been a guy using credit cards, but I haven't had a debit card. But it's definitely nice to have when you need some cash. Whether you're in Vegas, you need more money for gambling, or like when you do travel overseas, you do need to have some cash because there are a lot of places you go, they don't accept cards. You have to have their currency in you. And if you want to avoid a lot of the charges that come with when you're trying to transition to another currency, you do it at the airport, you're going to lose a lot of money in terms of the exchange value. They have enormous, ginormous fees. So if you sign up for this card, you'll be able to avoid a lot of that, because if you go through an ATM, you can get the best rate possible and the best bang for your buck. And I'm all about trying to save you guys money and to talk to you guys about what the hell is going on in the economy and just politics in general. So with that, guys, I will talk with all of you next week, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore, signing off.